Welcome to the Bible Show. I'm your host, Jeff Hudson. This is the Bible Show where we read the scripture directly from the Bible. Not what your pastor said, not what you heard, not the common beliefs, but what does the Bible actually say? Today's lesson, the times of the Gentiles, the times of the Gentiles. If you go read, and we're going to read this. This is in Luke 21. Reading Luke 21, Jesus tells the disciples that some things are going to come to pass, but not until, some things are going to be happening, but the end of the time, the people are not going to, the true Israelites are not going to get back to Jerusalem until the times of the Gentiles has come to an end. That means when all their iniquities are full, and he's had enough, their time's going to come to an end, and then Jesus is going to take over the entire earth and be the ruler of this earth. So why don't we just go ahead and get into it? I'm going to start this out in Luke chapter 21. Luke 21. We're going to read from verses 20 through 28. You can go ahead and read the whole chapter. But to try and just get right to the point, Luke 21, verses 20 through 28, verse 20. And it says, "And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh." Now he's giving them a prophecy. He's telling them like what's going to happen in the future. Right? Not just the future, right, the immediate future to them right there, but all the way down to our time and past our time. 21. "Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereunto." Now in 70 AD, the Romans put a siege around Jerusalem and overtook it and conquered it, and captured all of the Israelites in there, the ones that were still alive anyway, and killed them and captured them, sent them in slavery. 22. "For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles." Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, "until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled." Until God has had enough of their iniquity, Jerusalem is going to be trodden down by the Gentiles. "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken." 27. "And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory." Now it went from like their time right there, 0 BC, 30 BC, 30 AD rather, past our time. And we're talking about when he comes back. 28. "And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh." Now, are they going to be around when Jesus returns? Now, as far as the living goes, I just want to bring them all back. He's going to resurrect the saints, and they're going to join him with taking over the earth. But this is talking about when Jesus returns and how right now this world is in control of man. And for about the last 2,500 years, it's been controlled by these Gentiles. Now, who are the Gentiles? Now, the common belief is that the Gentiles are anyone that's not Jews. Now, that's not quite right. According to the Bible, the Gentiles are just descendants of Noah's son, Japheth. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. They all had children after the flood. After the flood, there were only 8 people, Noah and his wife, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. So they had to repopulate the earth. Shem had his sons. Ham had his sons. Japheth had his sons. The sons of Japheth are the Gentiles. Let's go read it. But before we do that, let's go to the Atlas of the Bible. Now this, when Jesus was talking to his disciples, this was during the time when Rome was running Jerusalem. Who are the Romans? They're Gentiles. And Jerusalem would be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. It's not fulfilled yet. Who's over there right now today? Who's running Israel today? The Gentiles. Now, there are some Edomites that are there. And we know in that land area, you got Moab and Ammon, like Jordan. All right. And Syria, they're all over there. But who's really running it? Who's in control of it? It's the Gentiles. It's being trodden down by the Gentiles. Okay, let's go to Atlas of the Bible, just to confirm that this is that the Romans are in control. Atlas of the Bible. This is Revolts Against Rome, pages 201 through 202. All right. When news of the Jewish revolt reached Rome, so the Jews that were in Jerusalem were revolting against the Roman rule. When news of the Jewish revolt reached Rome, the Emperor Nero ordered his foremost general Vespasian to take the field. A deliberate and careful commander, Vespasian made his first target Galilee. In 68, the year 68, the Roman commander launched a methodical campaign to isolate Jerusalem. The overthrow and suicide of Emperor Nero brought operations in Judea to a temporary halt as Vespasian prudently withdrew to test the imperial winds. He's going to become the emperor since Nero died. Eventually, he himself was declared emperor. Sailing for Rome in spring of 70, he left his capable son Titus in charge of the campaign against Jerusalem. So now we got Titus is taking over. Postponing an all-out assault, Titus turned to starvation tactics. A certain amount of food had been smuggled into the city almost nightly during the siege. A siege is when they put they block you within, so nothing can get out, nothing can get in. That's a siege. But now the Romans sealed off Jerusalem completely with a wall of their own made of earth of some 5 miles in circumference. From the outset of the siege, those attempting to get through the encircling lines had been caught and crucified. So Jesus wasn't the only one that was crucified with the two malefactors. It was a traditional death sentence, way of killing you by the Romans. Sometimes the daily executions reached 500. 500 people being crucified a day. The crosses were never bare. Inside the city, starvation and disease claimed a mounting toll. Bodies filled the streets and were stacked in houses. Thousands of corpses were thrown from the wall into the valley below. The battering rams, or like the Romans are battering, trying to break through the wall of Jerusalem. The battering rams pounded away until on July 24th, in 70 AD, Roman troops broke through, driving their foes before them in close fighting. Soon the fighting and the fires raged everywhere within the temple complex. Before long, the temple, one of the wonders of the Roman world, was nothing more than a smoldering ruin. When legionnaires at last broke into this refuge, they found only corpses. Jerusalem was a city of the dead. So in 70 AD, because of the revolts that the Jews were conducting against the Romans, they finally just said they had enough, and they just conquered all of Jerusalem, killed everybody, took them all captive, and sold them all into slavery, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And here we are today. Now, that was in 70 AD. And the Jews, the real Israelites, I'm saying Jews, but the Israelites have not been back since. The true Israelites have not been back since. In 1948, 49, that was not the true Israelites being brought back. So the book says the true Israelites are not going to be back until Jesus returns. Jesus hasn't returned yet. So who's over there? You got Gentiles over there. You got Edomites over there. There's some people over there. There even some Israelites over there, but not the gathering of the captives. They never really came back. So who are these Gentiles? Let's look at what the Bible, who the Bible says Gentiles really are. Let's go to Genesis chapter 10. Genesis 10. Gonna read verses 1 through 5. This is just the sons of Japheth. Genesis chapter 10, verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. Unto Shem, Ham, and Japheth were sons born after the flood. Excuse me. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Titus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, sound familiar, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, and Kittim, and Dodanim. Verse 5. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. So the sons of Japheth are who the Gentiles are. Who the Gentiles are. These sons of Japheth. Now let's look up these names. It says here, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands. So these sons, these lands were named after their sons. Everyone after his tongue, after their families, and their nations. So let's see. So I went to messianicrevolution.com, messianic-revolution.com. Who are the descendants of Japheth? And where are they today? Okay. And it says, this is messianic-revolution.com. Who are the descendants of Japheth? In chapter 10, 7 sons of Japheth are listed. They are Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Titus, and Meshach. Here's a quick snapshot of where they are today. Gomer. Descendants of Gomer generally settled in what is today Wales and Great Britain. Wales and Great Britain. Magog. Now you heard of the British Empire, right? Magog, the descendants of Magog became the Russian peoples. This is Russian running things. Madai, the descendants of Madai became the Medes. Javan, generally speaking, the descendants of Javan became the Greeks. Were the Greeks ever ruling the world? It is also interesting to note that one of Javan's sons, Tarshish, has become what is today modern day Spain. In Spain, Spain's conquering, they conquered most of the United States before the British took over. Tarshish is mentioned in a prophecy in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verses 1 through 12. Tubal. Tubal. A bit of controversy on this one. However, I'll go with Josephus's take on the matter, who identified the descendants of Tubal, with the Iberians, that is, the inhabitants of a tract of country between the Caspian and Euxine seas, which nearly corresponded to modern Georgia. That's in Eastern Europe. Modern Georgia, Eastern Europe. It's on the border of Russia. As a matter of fact, it's one of the countries that currently today the United States is trying to have a coup done to overthrow that government so they can be another NATO nation fighting against Russia, against the border of Russia, just like Ukraine is. How these going to work? No way. Tyrus. From Tyrus came a group of people known as the Thracians, who became the Macedonians, from whom Alexander the Great came. Alexander the Great, one of the rulers of the world. We're going to get to that. Yes, he was. Meshach. The descendants of Meshach were believed to have originated from the northeast of Asia Minor, which is Turkey, particularly in the area that is now Turkey. Then they traveled north and settled in Rosh, which is modern day Russia. So those sons right there, you can see that these are all basically European nations. Now, who's been running the world for the last 2,500 years? Who's colonized all of these other countries? Who colonized Africa? Who still have them colonized today? Who've got all these islands who are like stealing all the natural resources. The colonizers, who are they? The Europeans. That's who's been running the world. And it's not of their own doing, really. It's God set it up that way. All right, let's read something else. This is from michaelruark.wordpress.com, because we're going to get to Ashkenaz. Michael Ruark, MichaelRuark.wordpress.com. And this is the Ashkenazi. I think what gets me in this is like Nazi is in the word Ashkenazi. Okay. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicles, written in the 9th century AD, begins by saying that the Britons, like the Saxons, came from Armenia and the Picts of Scotland from the south of Scythia. It was their counterparts who chose to remain behind in the Don River Basin who converted to Judaism in the 8th century AD, and who were known as Khazars, Khazars. In the article in the November 2001 issue of the American Journal of Human Genetics, Ariella Oppenheim of the Hebrew University of Israel wrote that her new study revealed that Jews have a closer genetic relationship, now these are these European Jews, have a closer genetic relationship to populations in the northern Mediterranean, including Kurds, Anatolian Turks, and Armenians, than to populations in the southern Mediterranean, like Arabs and Bedouins. The Armenians traditionally identified themselves as descendants of Ashkenaz, the son of Magog. The son of Magog is who? One of the sons of Japheth, the Gentiles. So you see who these Gentiles are. This is basically like Europeans, basically. No, there's more than that. They spread into like other countries too. But for the most part, these are the Gentiles. And can you argue who's been running the world for the last 2,500 years? There's no reason, no wonder that there's some that have like a superiority complex. They think that they've been on top since the beginning, but that's not the case. And, generally speaking, I think most people understand that no one's better than anybody else. No individual person got a better IQ because of your genetics or your race than anybody else. God gave this thing to who he wants to give this thing to. We're going to read that too. Let's look at another thing here by michaelruark.wordpress.com. And this is the 13th tribe is from Ukraine. That's the question. The 13th tribe is from Ukraine. The 13th tribe is like this article that was written. And Michael Ruark at wordpress.com is going to talk about a little bit. So here we go. The 13th tribe is from Ukraine. That's the question. The ruling elite of the Khazars, who we just read about, was said by Judah Halevi and Abraham Ibn Daud to have converted to rabbinic Judaism in the 8th century. There it is, that conversion again to Judaism. They weren't born as, they weren't the sons of Jacob. They're not true Israelites. They converted to this religious practice. Kevin Allen Brooke wrote in Khazaria.com, over 1,000 years ago, the far east of Europe was ruled by Jewish kings who presided over numerous tribes, including their own tribe, the Turkic Khazars. After their conversion, the Khazar people used Jewish personal names, spoke and wrote in Hebrew, were circumcised, had synagogues and rabbis, studied the Torah and Talmud, and observed Hanukkah, Pesach, and the Sabbath. So this is a conversion to religious practices, not a birth into a people, not the sons of Jacob, not the Israelites, a conversion to Judaism. It hosted merchants from all over Asia and Europe. And you can look it up at europe.factsanddetails.com. And it's in the notes. If you go there, you can take a look at it and click on it. Kostler hypothesized that the Khazars, after their conversion in the 8th century, migrated westward into Eastern Europe in the 12th and 13th centuries when the Khazar Empire was collapsing. So, when you think about the Holocaust and World War II, there's all these Eastern European Jews. Were they descendants of Jacob, or were they descendants of these Khazars? That's an argument for another day. In any case, let's keep going. Like I said before, now we know that this said that until Jerusalem's going to be trodden down by the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. But we know that there are Edomites there, there are Moabites still there, there's Ammonites still there, and these are also Semitic people. Like Edom is the brother of Jacob, whose name changed to Israel. Moab and Ammon are the sons of Lot, who is Abraham's nephew. And they're Semitic people. But let's read something. Let's go to Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11. And we're going to read verses 21 through 23, and we're going to jump down to verse 41. Just to give you an idea of Edom, Moab, and Ammon, they're still there. So there are people in the land, so it's not just all Gentiles that are there. There are Edomites there, or else the book wouldn't say that these countries or these nations would be saved. Well, let's read it. Daniel chapter 11, verse 21. And in his estate, and in his estate shall stand up a vile person. Now, this vile person is the abomination of desolation. And we'll read that a little bit later too. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. 22. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up and shall become strong with the small people. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey and spoil and riches, yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds even for a time. 3.5 years, to be exact. 25. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great mighty army, but he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Now I'm supposed to skip down to verse 41. I read through 25, but that's okay. So let's get down to verse 41. Verse 41. You're still talking about this vile person. This vile person. He shall enter also into the glorious land. What's the glorious land? That's Jerusalem. And many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand. These countries, now this country is in italics, which means it wasn't really in the Bibles, but these people shall escape out of his hand. Even Edom, Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. So we know that they're still going to be there when this vile person shows up. And the true vile person hasn't shown up yet. You know, it's going to be there. It's going to be a religious figure that's going to take over like a third of the world or so. That's where you're going to get your 666 being put on everybody under his rule. He's going to make himself God, even though he's not God. It's going to rule for 3.5 years until Jesus returns. That's when the Israelites will be gathered and taken back to Jerusalem, not from the United Nations decision in 1948. So, okay, and we can also know that there's Edomites still over there living in the land, because you can read Obadiah, the book of Obadiah. Now, I was thinking about whether we should read it or not, but what the heck? Let's go to Obadiah. There's only one chapter, Obadiah chapter 1. And we'll just read the book of Obadiah. This is about Edom. Obadiah chapter 1, verses 1 through 21. Obadiah chapter 1. There's only one chapter, verses 1 through 21. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. So we know Edom is there. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Heathen just means nations. I have made thee small among the nations. Thou art greatly despised. Now, if you look at this today, what the so-called Jews are doing to Palestine and all the Arab countries around there, and the Iranians, which are not Arabic, they're Gentiles as well. They're Persia. Iran is Persia. They're Gentiles. But the Jews over there are committing a genocide over there. They're bombing Iran. Well, they tried to. I think they got a second thought about it now because Iran really struck back. In any case, it says, thou art greatly despised. The whole world is against these people for what their atrocities have been and are still being. The whole world is against them. The only people that's really backing them up, you got the NATO nations, and even the people over there, most of the people are not, the governments are holding them up. And the United States, and most of the people in the United States are against it because of the atrocities they committed and the genocide that they're committing. So the people are against it, but the government's trying to hold it up. You got to keep them in. They're trying to keep the control of the land. Yeah, so thou art greatly despised. Verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high. Like they think they're on top of the world, right? That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? It's like, well, we can do anything we want. And then blame it on like the Holocaust. And yeah. Verse 4, that doesn't give you the right to commit atrocities against other people. Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Now, this is not everybody. Like there's, it's the what's called the Zionists today that are committing these atrocities. There are other Jews that are against some of the stuff, against these atrocities that they're doing, that are Jewish people. You know, they're against it. And they're the ones that here in the United States, last year, they were protesting against it. And what the United States do, they sent the cops in to bust them all up. But there are people that are not down for this, that are the Jews over there, or Edomites over there, or Gentiles over there, that are not with this. They're not down for it. You know, so you can't put everybody in the same bucket. And you can't just stereotype everybody. Everybody has their own will and their own thoughts, you know, their own deeds and their own actions, their own beliefs, you know. So you can't say that everybody that's of a particular race is this horrible person. That doesn't fly. You got to give everybody a chance, right? Till you talk to that individual, you don't know where they're coming from. Verse 5, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things Esau searched out? The Esau and Edom are the same. We're going to read that a little bit later too. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. You know, I was listening to, I don't know if you know Garland Nixon. I was listening to Garland Nixon, and he made a point that he was like, okay, after World War II, even before World War II, you had these Jews, right? And the European nations were committing atrocities against them, pogroms, etc., against these people. And then it was like, all right, now we're going to put you all the way over here in this land in Israel, create this new state, which was Palestine by then. But anyway, it's really Israel. But the name of it was Palestine then. We're going to put you over here, and so you can be safe. And then, so now we're going to take care of you. It's like, wait a minute. This is the very people that were hating you. They put you over the land, and now they're going to take care of you. Anyway, it's kind of like your enemies now love you. Do they? Or are they setting you up for some atrocities that they want to commit, or that they want to have you commit? Anyway, verse 8, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O T-Man, T-Man's another name for Edom, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Yeah. Esau was born, and Jacob, his twin, was born right after. Jacob and Esau are brothers, the sons of Isaac, the sons of Abraham. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, but you can see what we're going to get to in this book of Obadiah that Edom took over that name after the Babylonians, after the Romans rather, destroyed Israel in 70 AD and killed and captured all the true Israelites. Edom came in and took over the land and was living there and called themselves the Israel because they were practicing Judaism or Christianity, really. Not anymore, though. I mean, there might be some practicing Christianity there. I can't lump everybody in there. But the religion that they say there is Judaism, which is not the same thing as Christianity. All right. Verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in 70 AD, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, the Romans carried away captive the Israelites, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. So the Edomites were in cahoots with the Romans when they conquered Israel and carried away captive all the true Israelites. Verse 12, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of his distress. So Edom was like, yeah, conquer them. Verse 13, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. So in 70 AD, when Israelite was getting destroyed by the Romans, Edom walked there and took over. They didn't call themselves Edomites, though. Yea, thou shouldst not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. So the Edomites took all the things that the Israelites had after they were destroyed from the Romans. 14, neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. So if any Israelites were trying to get away, the Edomites would catch them and bring them back to the Romans. The brother betrayed the brother. Middle 14, neither shouldest thou have delivered up those neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen nations. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. So the Lord's going to return and give this land back to the house of Jacob, true Israelites. Not just true Israelites, but the saints, those that fear God and keep his commandments and have the faith in Jesus Christ. And that can be anybody. That's any nation. That's any person, regardless of race, creed, color, etc. Fear God and keep his commandments. You're spiritual Israel. You're a saint of the Most High. 18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. The true Israelites, sons of Jacob, gonna get the land back. 20. And the captivity of the host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites. You go back to Genesis, back to Judges. Back to Joshua, and you see that Joshua conquered all the Canaanites, and that's how Israel got the land in the first place. It was really the Canaanites that were living there at first, sons of Ham. They were committing iniquity against the Lord, so he conquered them and put the Israelites there. They committed iniquity against the Lord. Now the Gentiles have it. Need them, right? But the Lord's going to give it back to Israel because he made a promise to Abraham. Verse 20 again. And the captivity of the host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's. The kingdom's going to be the Lord's. The Lord's going to set his kingdom up in Zion, to Jerusalem, and it's going to be a holy place. Is it holy over there now? Is it safe over there now? Absolutely not. People are fleeing. So that's the book of Obadiah. Now let's go back to Genesis, and let's just confirm that Esau is the brother of Jacob, and Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel. And then we're going to take a look at how Lot is, like Moab and Ammon are also Semitic people, sons of Lot. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25. Genesis chapter 25. We're going to read 19 through 26. Genesis chapter 25. 25 verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. 41. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, the Edomites and the Israelites. And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took on Esau's shield, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. So here we see that Esau and Jacob are born from Isaac. Just to confirm that Esau and Jacob are brothers, they're twin brothers. So Edom and Israel are twin brothers. Let's go to Genesis chapter 36 now, just to confirm that Esau is Edom. Genesis chapter 36. Genesis chapter 36. Just going to pick it up one verse 1. Genesis chapter 36, verse 1. Now, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Who is Edom? It's a statement, not a question. These are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau and Edom are the same people. So when we read about the Edomites, Idumea, that's the brother of Jacob. So they're Semitic people. The Gentiles are not Semitic, but the Edomites are. Now let's take a look at Lot's sons. Well, first let's go to Genesis chapter 32, and we can see it. Let's see that Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel. Genesis chapter 32, and we'll pick it up at verse 24. We're going to read 24 through 28. Genesis chapter 32, verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. 26. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed. So Jacob's name is changed to Israel, thus the Israelites, or the Jacobites, but it's really the Israelites, the true descendants that should have that land, that God gave the land to, who eventually are going to get it back. But not until Jesus returns. Not in 1948, 1949. Let's go to Genesis chapter 11, and we'll find out that Lot is Abraham's nephew, which makes him Semitic too, right? Genesis chapter 11, verse 31. Genesis chapter 11, verse 31, one verse. And Terah took Abram his son, Abram is Abraham, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son. So Abram had a brother named Haran. Haran had a son. His name was Lot. Haran died, and so Lot started hanging out with Abraham, or Abram. Verse 31 again. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran. This is not the brother Haran. This is a place called Haran, and dwelt there. Two Harans here. One is Abram's brother. The other is like a city or a village or whatever you want to call it, a town. But I just want to make the point that you see here that Lot is Abraham's nephew. Let's look at Lot's children. He had two daughters, but then he was living in Sodom. Sodom got destroyed. He flew to Zoar. I think it was Zoar. And they thought everybody was dead, so they wanted to repopulate the world again. So let's read it. Genesis chapter 19. Genesis 19. And we're going to read 29 through 38. Genesis chapter 19, verse 29 through 38. And it came to pass when God destroyed the cities of the plain, and God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and all the towns round about, that God remembered Abraham. God remembered Abraham, right? And sent Lot out of the midst. So God has a covenant with Abraham. Lot's his nephew. And Lot was a righteous guy, or else he wouldn't have been saved out of Sodom, right? And sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt. Verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his two daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar. And he dwelt in the cave, he and his two daughters. So Lot's in a cave somewhere around Zoar, not too far up there, with his two daughters, right? 31. And the firstborn daughter said unto the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. So they're trying to do a good deed, right? To carry on mankind. They think everyone is destroyed. 33. And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it had to be some pretty good wine, man, or some strong drink or something for you to pass out and not even remember that you slept with your daughter. 34. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also. And go thou in and lie with them, that we may preserve seed of our father. 35. And they made their father drink wine again that night also. And the younger arose and lay with them. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. So, and he must have really been lit, man, to not know. How much wine do you have to drink to pass out, not remember anything? 36. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moabites. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger, she also bare a son, and called his name Benamai. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. Now, right now, Moab and Ammon is called, it's like Jordan. It's right there on the coast, where you got like the east coast of Israel. You got the West Bank right there. It's kind of like a little bubble that comes in that the Palestinians are staying in, and the Jews over there, or the Israelis, are settlers in Israel are going in there and taking over there, trying to take over that land. They're destroying Gaza, right? Which is on the west side by the Mediterranean. Well, on the east side, next to Jordan, is the West Bank. But that Jordan area, just east of that, is Jordan, what used to be Moab and Ammon. Just give you an idea of what's over there right now. So we see that Abraham, Lot is that Moab and Ammon are Semitic people, and they're going to help the Israelites when they return. Because we saw earlier in Daniel 11 that Edom, Moab, and Ammon escaped out of the vile person's hand. Okay, let's go to Luke. Let's go back to Luke, just to show that these are all Semitic people. Luke chapter 3. We're going to do some genealogy here. Luke chapter 3. And we're going to read, we're going to do some skipping here. We read 23 through 24. We'll skip down to 31. And then we'll skip down to 38. Luke chapter 3, verse 23. And Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being as was supposed the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli, which was the son of Mathat, which was the son of Levi, which was the son of Melchi, which was the son of Janna, which was the son of Joseph. 25. I'm at 25. Yeah, let's skip down to verse 31. Verse 31. I'm just going to skip going through some of these. I'm not going to read them all. 31. Which was the son of Malaiah, which was the son of Minan, which was the son of Mattatha, which was the son of Nathan, which was the son of David. 32, which was the son of Jesse, which was the son of Obed, which was the son of Booz, which was the son of Salmon, which was the son of Nason, which was the son of Aminadab, which was the son of Aram, which was the son of Esrom, which was the son of Pharez, which was the son of Judah. 34, which was the son of Jacob, which was the son of Isaac, which was the son of Abraham, which was the son of Thara, which we read earlier, which was the son of Nachor. Now let's get down to verse 38. Which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. So we see this descendants of Shem. You know what? We didn't read Shem. Let's go to 36. Which was the son of Canaan, which was the son of Arphaxad, which was the son of Sem, which is Shem, which was the son of Noah, which was the son of Lamech. So you see the Shem or Sem is the son of Noah after the flood. This is his line of descendants, which are Semitic people. If you came out of the line of Sem, line of Shem, you are Semitic. So that's another argument against that, well, the world thinks as when you think of Semitic, you think of just those particular Israeli people. No, there's billions, millions, if not billions of Semitic people in this world today. Not just this one little group of them. How many people, how many sons, how many children did Abraham have? How many children did Shem have? All of his sons and all of their sons and all of their sons and all of their sons are Semitic. We don't even know how many. You can't just narrow it down. They're using titles that if you read and understand, if you look at it and to do a little bit of research, you can find it's bigger than that. And there's more going on than just the lies that we're being told in the mainstream media and the news and stuff. This thing is huge. The Lord is in control of all of this. The Lord God Almighty is in control of all of this. It's going to be his will that's being done. He gave this earth to be ruled by man. First it was given to Ham. You can look up like the Egyptians. It was given to Shems. You look at the Israelites when David and Solomon were ruling. Then it was given to Japheth, the Gentiles who have it today. And then eventually it's going to be given back to, it's going to be taken over by Jesus and the Father God. Eventually, there's a Gentile dynasty that's in effect. Once that ends, until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled, Jesus is going to come back and take over this earth. We don't go to heaven. Heaven comes here. The kingdom of God comes to the planet Earth. Let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 27. We're going to see that God has given this thing to the Gentiles, starting off with Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Jeremiah chapter 27. Jeremiah 27. And we're going to read verses 1 through 11. Okay. Jeremiah chapter 27, verses 1 through 11. Verse 1. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came this word unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord to me, make thee bonds and yokes and put them upon thy neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon by the hand of the messengers which come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah king of Judah. Verse 4. And command them to say unto their masters, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. Thus shall you say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man, and the beasts that are upon the ground by my great power and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me. The Lord said, I'm going to give this who I want to give it to. Verse 6. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. Who gave it to the king of Babylon? The Lord gave it to the king of Babylon. My servant. Now, is Nebuchadnezzar an Israelite? No, he's a Gentile. He's the first Gentile. We're going to read that too. And the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. And all nations shall serve him, and his son, and his son's sons, until the very time of his land come, and then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. 8. And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord. The sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. So the Lord gave this thing to Nebuchadnezzar. And it's going to be the rule of Nebuchadnezzar until the times of the Gentiles have been fulfilled. Verse 9. Therefore hearken not ye to the prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, You shall not serve the king of Babylon. Like, don't listen to them. Verse 10. For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and you should perish. 11. But the nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, saith the Lord. And they shall till it and dwell therein. So who gave this thing over to Babylon? God did. There's nothing any man can do about it. You can fight against it if you want to. You're not going to prevail until the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. It's going to be trodden down to the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. Now, excuse me. Now, Babylon was the first empire. After that, it came the Medo-Persian Empire, then the Greek Empire, then the Roman Empire. Those are the 4 Gentile dynasties. In the past 2,500 years or so, we've been under that. And you can see that it's starting to come to an end. These Gentile dynasties have been fighting against each other. You can see it today. These Gentile dynasties are fighting against each other. The colonies that they once had are fighting against them too and saying, look, man, we try to be in your colony. You can look at like Burkina Faso in Africa, Mali. They're like, look, we had enough of this. They're breaking away. And you can see that the colonists, the colonizers are losing their control. They're not able to fight back and get them back in line. That dude, Ibrahim Traore, and it's like, he's like, look, we're not being under the yoke of y'all no more. Now, how long is it going to last? I don't know. Well, we can see that the time of the Gentiles is coming to an end. Now, so maybe this is the time. And there's going to be a world war, not like World War I and World War II. Those are really European wars. We're talking about our true world war where all of the nations are going to be fighting against each other. All these nations that were under the yoke of the Gentile dynasty are starting to break away, and they're like revolting. And we can see that the powers that be, the Gentile nations that were in control, don't have as much strength as they used to. But anyway, let's go to Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 4, just to show that Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon is a Gentile nation. It was the first Gentile nation. And this is when the Gentile dynasty started with Jeremiah, with Nebuchadnezzar here in Babylon. Jeremiah chapter 4, we're going to read verses 1 through 8. Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 1. If thou would return, O Israel, saith the Lord, return unto me. And if thou would put away thine abominations out of my sight, then shalt thou not remove. That means, look, if you turn back unto me, Israelites, then I won't kick you out of the land. We know that didn't work. Verse 2. And thou shalt swear the Lord liveth in truth, in judgment, and in righteousness, and the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. For thus saith the Lord to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns. In other words, like, look, leave that idolatry, false worship alone, and come back and get under my commandments, law, and statutes to be obedient to me, the one true and living God. If you don't, you're going to be destroyed by the Babylonians. And that's what Jeremiah is telling these people. Verse 4, circumcise yourselves to the Lord and take away the foreskins of your heart, ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it because of the evil of your doings. So the Lord is going to send a people to destroy you if you don't turn back to him. Even unto this day, verse 5, declare ye in Judah and publish in Jerusalem and say, blow ye the trumpet in the land, cry, gather together and say, assemble yourselves and let us go into the defense cities. Set up the standard toward Zion, retire, stay not, for I will bring evil from the north and a great destruction. Now, Babylon was north of Israel. So the evil that's coming from the north is Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon unto Jerusalem to destroy it. Verse 7. The lion is come up from the thicket. The lion, that's Babylon. And the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. The destroyer of the who? The Gentiles. Nebuchadnezzar is the destroyer. He's a Gentile. He is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy city shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. For this gird you with sackcloth, lament, and howl, for the fierce anger of the Lord is not turned back from us. So he's like, look, if you don't turn back to me, I'm going to send the destroyer of the Gentiles. That's like a title, the destroyer of the Gentiles, Nebuchadnezzar, unto you to destroy you. And this is actually what happened. So let's go to, so we see that Babylon, the first Gentile nation that took over, God gave it to him. We read earlier in Jeremiah 27. Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. And we're going to read verses 37 through 45. Now, this is going to talk about the four Gentile dynasties, the four Gentile nations, rather, that I spoke about a little bit earlier. We can see that there's going to be the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire. Daniel chapter 2, verse 37. And this is like Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. He had already destroyed, Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon had destroyed Israel and Jerusalem and took it over and took captives. And Daniel was one of the captives. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. Go back and read this whole chapter. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he wanted Daniel to tell him. He wanted somebody to tell him, what does this dream mean? It's like, hey, Daniel can tell you what it means. Daniel's like, okay, look, King, I'm going to tell you what this dream is. Daniel chapter 2, verse 37. Like I said, go back and read the whole chapter and get the dream, etc. 37. Thou, O King, art a King of kings, for the God of heaven have given thee a kingdom. Who gave him a kingdom? The God of heaven have given Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon a kingdom, power and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven have he given into thine hand. Once again, who gave this into Nebuchadnezzar's hand? The Lord God. And have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. Nebuchadnezzar, the first Gentile ruler. Verse 39. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. All right. Verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest in the iron mixed with miry clay. So this fourth kingdom going to get broken up. It's going to be a mixture. Verse 42 of iron and clay, strong and weak. 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. They shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So they're separate nations. They're together. They're in cahoots, but they're still separate nations. 44. And in the days of these kings shall God of heaven set up a kingdom. So once the Gentile, once the iniquity of Gentiles is full, God comes back. The God of heaven comes back to set up his kingdom, which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So God's going to come back, destroy this Gentile dynasty, and take over the earth and be the ruler, and give the land of Israel back to the true Israelites and the saints. 45. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron and the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. This is all the way down past our time. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. So this thing is going to happen. And it has happened. We can look in history and see that the Babylonian Empire was first. After them was the Medo-Persian Empire, which is Russia and Iran today. After them was the Greek Empire. And then after them was the Roman Empire. In that exact order. That's exactly how it came. Now, is this coincidence? This lines up pretty well with exactly like what the Bible says was going to happen. This was written in like what? I don't know, 300 BC or something, 400 BC, 600 BC. How many thousands of years ago? About 2,500 years ago. Anyway, you see what I'm getting at here? We're in the middle of this thing. We're in the middle of Bible days. People say Bible days, they think of the past. No, we're in Bible days. We're in Bible days today. Let's go to Daniel chapter 8, just to show you that after Babylon was the Medo-Persian Empire and then Greece. Daniel chapter 8, and we're going to pick it up at verse 20. Daniel chapter 8, verse 20. Now, Daniel had a dream. He had a dream of some animals that he saw. He saw a ram and he saw a he-goat. Right? And he's going to tell us what these are. So Daniel chapter 8, we're just going to jump into it. You can once again read this whole chapter. We're just going to jump right into it to get to the point. And start at verse 20. Daniel chapter 8, verse 20. We're going to read 20 through 27. Verse 20. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. This is the second kingdom. 21. And the rough goat is the king of Greece. So it's telling you who these kingdoms are. These are the four Gentile kingdoms that we just read about in Daniel chapter 2. After Babylon came the Medo-Persian Empire. After the Medo-Persian Empire came the Greek Empire. And the fourth kingdom is the Roman Empire. 21 again. And the rough goat is the king of Greece. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Who is the first king of Greece? Alexander the Great. You go look it up in history. He was a Macedonian. He wasn't Greek, but he was the first king of Greece. His father was king of Macedonia. 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for a kingdom shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. When Alexander the Great died, the Greek Empire broke into four separate empires, and Rome came out of one of those empires. 25. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences that shall stand up. Now, this is that vile person that we read about earlier in Daniel chapter, what was it, Daniel chapter 11? Yeah, Daniel chapter 11, that's talking about the vile person. Here's that vile person again. What does it say? And in this is 23, and in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressions are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He's going to get his power from Satan. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty people and the holy people. He's going to present himself as a holy person, but he's not the true holy person. He's a person of Satan. And he's going to have to destroy the true holy people to make sure that because they're talking against him. They're talking the truth against him. 25. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, which is Jesus, right? But he shall be broken without hand. Of course, he's not going to win against Jesus Christ. 26. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. It has not come true yet, but we're getting there. 27. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward I arose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. So this wasn't meant really for Daniel. It was meant for us to understand. We can see that there's going to be a vile person. Abomination of desolation is going to come into power. And we're trying to put 666 on everybody. And Jesus is going to come back and destroy him. Not just him, but there's another beast as well. But that's not a lesson. So we see that after Babylon came the Medo-Persian Empire, according to Daniel's dream, then the Greek Empire. What about the fourth kingdom? So, fourth kingdom. Now let's go to, I went to GreekBoston.com. GreekBoston.com. What to know about the Roman conquest of Greece. So we see after Babylon came Medo-Persia. After Medo-Persia came Greece. Where does Rome come into play? Because it doesn't say Rome took over in the Bible. It says it's this fourth beast, right? But we know that Roman was in charge of Jerusalem in Jesus' day. And we can see here that we're going to read some history here at GreekBoston.com that Rome took over after Greece. What to know about the Roman conquest of Greece? Greece was one of the areas that dominated the ancient world. They fought off the Persian Empire and expanded their boundaries, especially during Alexander's reign. However, this didn't last forever because Greece was eventually invaded by Rome. Although Greece would remain strong for a while, even after Alexander's death, it was only a matter of time before his fears were realized when General Mummius defeated the Greek army at the Battle of Corinth in 146 AD. So Greece took over the fourth Gentile dynasty in 146 AD after they defeated Greece. Let's look at something else. This is from StirUpAmerica.com. Now I go to these different sites instead of like your traditional, Britannica site, etc. Just to show you that this stuff is all over. This is common knowledge everywhere. Now you can go to StirUpAmerica.com and find out some information about the history, maybe some information that the traditional media is not going to give us. They're not going to give us the truth. They've been lying to us from day one. They're not giving you the true history of what actually happened. You got to do some digging to find out. StirUpAmerica.com. The church's role in post-Roman governance. The church's role. So, in 476 AD, Rome fell, supposedly, right? So what happened after that? What happened to the Roman Empire after that? what happened to Rome? Well, let's read it in stirupamerica.com. The church's role in post-Roman governance. When the Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476 AD, a power vacuum emerged. Who would manage the sprawling territories, courts, and social welfare systems? The answer, the Christian church. Christian church? Okay. As Roman political institutions crumbled, the church stepped in to provide stability. Bishops, particularly in major cities like Rome and Constantinople, became de facto political leaders. If you look at it like today, like who are the so-called African American leaders, right? The pastors, supposedly. I don't know. Their influence is dwelling too, because people can see that they're lying to the people. They're not telling you what the book actually says. They just want you to give money. They feed themselves, and they fleecing the flock. At the middle of this, let's go back and read and start up again. As Roman political institutions crumbled, the church stepped in to provide stability. Bishops, particularly in major cities like Rome and Constantinople, became de facto political leaders. They organized relief efforts, mediated disputes, and even maintained public infrastructure. By the time the Bishop of Rome started being referred to as the Pope, derived from the Latin papa, meaning father, the church had established itself as the backbone of Western governments. The Catholic Church established itself as the backbone of Western governance. This wasn't just a practical development, it was deeply symbolic. The church, once a persecuted minority, had not only survived, but now carried the mantle of Roman authority. This is what would eventually be called the Roman Catholic Church. So who took over after Rome fell in 476 AD? The Roman Catholic Church. Let's go to Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17. And we're going to read verses 1 through 18. This is about the Roman Catholic Church. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So this Roman Catholic Church is really giving you false doctrine. Do they keep the commandments of God, or do they write their own commandments? Do they have the faith of the true Jesus Christ, or do they have the faith of a Jesus Christ that was born on December 25th, which the Bible doesn't support? Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Now we can see that Babylon was the first Gentile dynasty that God gave this rulership to. And all of these other nations, they weren't Babylon, but Babylon really means confusion. So don't think of this Babylon as the first Babylon, because the first Babylon has been destroyed. You had Medo-Persia, Greece already after them, and then even Rome fell. So this Babylon is the new one. Don't be confused with even though Babylon means to be confused. Understand who took over, that the Roman Empire, even though it fell, didn't really fall. The Roman Catholic Church. Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. And it says she's going to be, this vile person going to be killing the saints. And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Doesn't mean that he was admiring her. He was like with great wonderment, like amazement, like this is trippy. Verse 7, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. Perdition means destruction. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not yet is. So if you fall for this, your name's not written in the book of life. You're falling for the false doctrine. What does the book actually say? Does it line up with what this church says you're supposed to be doing? No, it does not. Verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. And we read earlier that these 10 toes were mingled together, some strong, some weak. They were separate nations, but they were all in cahoots. These shall have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. We saw that this vile person was going to make war with the Prince of Princes, right? That's the Lamb, right? And the Lamb shall overcome them. They're going to lose to Jesus. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So the great whore is going to get destroyed. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give her kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Now, what's the great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth today? You go back to Rome. Where does this vile person come from? Where's the Roman Catholic Church headed out of? Vatican City, which is where? In Rome. If you open your eyes and read this and research this, you can see that this is the vile person. This is the West that we're talking about. That's going to be overthrown. These things are taking place because God's in control of all this. God's in control. So the only thing that we can do is be obedient to his commandments, laws, and statutes, and have the faith in Jesus Christ. Else, we get caught up in this and start worshiping the false doctrine, and we will fall by the wayside and wind up in the lake of fire, which none of us want. Let's go to, let's read some more history here. This is from Vatican.com. Now, we read in Revelation 10, verse 9, it says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. So what are these 7 mountains which the woman sitteth? This is Vatican.com, the 7 hills of Rome. 7 hills of Rome. The ancient city of Rome was originally built on the topographical layout of 7 separate hills. These 7 hills were joined together by the ancient walls of Rome, the Servian walls. The 7 hills of Rome lie in the east to the Tiber River. Later, many more areas were annexed to the city. The city walls were expanded to include them also, and the city is now much bigger than the original territory. The Vatican and Vatican Hill are included in the areas that were added to the city, which much later in history. The 7 hills are namely the Quirinal Hill, the Aventine Hill, the Kylian Hill, the Viminal Hill, the Capitoline Hill, the Esquiline Hill, and the Palatine Hill. Palatine Hill. So you see that Vatican is in the midst of these 7 hills. This is where this beast sits. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. What's the woman? And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Some understanding here. Let's read Atlas of the Bible. Go back to Atlas of the Bible. Atlas of the Bible, the end of Judah. Atlas of the Bible, the end of Judah. Okay. Excuse me. This is pages 142 through 144. 142 through 144. Excuse me. Nineveh, which was a city in Assyria, which conquered the 10 tribes of Israel, the northern part of Israel, and took them into captivity. Anyway, that's another lesson. Israel was split from after Solomon. Israel was split into Israel in the north and Judah in the south. So they had separate kings. The Ephraim was mostly the kings of the north, and the kings of the south were still the descendants of Judah. Since they were sinning so much, God took out the northern tribes with Assyria, and Nineveh was a city in Assyria, and they put in non-Israelites in the north. That's why you hear mostly about Jerusalem now. But in any case, let's finish reading this. Atlas of the Bible, the end of Judah, pages 142 through 144. Nineveh fell to the Babylonians in 612. So we see that in 612 BC is when Babylonians started rising up and taking over. In 589, so if you go from BC back down, BC to AD, you can count backwards. So 612, 611, 610, 589, down to 0, then back up again. In 589, supported by Egyptian promises, Zedekiah, who was the king of Jerusalem at the time, openly rebelled against the king of Babylon. Now, we read earlier that God put Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon, everything under his control, and all nations were to put their neck under his yoke, right? You had to be subservient to Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. If you didn't, God was going to destroy you. So what does it say here? In 589, supported by Egyptian promises, Zedekiah, who was the king of Jerusalem, openly rebelled against the king of Babylon. So you know they're in trouble right there. The Babylonian victory over Judah in 587 BC was total. Thousands died in the vain defense of Judah. Others succumbed to starvation or disease. Many Judahites hid in wilderness areas, while a few fled east to Ammon and Moab, and even south to Edom, seeking refuge. So Edom, Ammon, Moab, these are relatives of the Israelites. Even though they went against them, even though they turned against them, but they're still relatives of Israel. Some found asylum in Egypt. After their victory, the Babylonians executed a number of the leading political, military, and religious figures, and subsequently deported to Babylonia most of the remaining leaders along with their families. So we see that Daniel was in Babylon. He's interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dream for him, so you know he was taken captive into Babylon. So just so you can understand here, you see that this Gentile dynasty, which is still in rule, even after Rome supposedly fell in 476 AD, is still carrying on even today. The Roman Catholic Church today, when the rulers go visit the Vatican, what do? They kiss the ring of Rome. These guys say so in what goes on in this earth. And the Pope today is gonna rise up and become that vile person, and eventually fight against God and put the 666 in your head, etc. If you let him. or if you don't escape, or if you don't get killed. That's what this history is telling us it's going to lead to. And it all comes back down to the world being taken over by God, though. Gave everybody their chance. Ham had his chance. Shem had his chance. Japheth and the Gentiles had their chance. We all screwed it up. God's going to come back and take over and make it right. That's the bottom line. Now, if you want to be in the good graces of God, to be on the right side, this world stuff's going to take place. It's like, don't take part in it. What we need to do to stay out of it and be on the winning side of this is keep the commandments of God and have the faith in Jesus Christ. Let's go to the book of Joel and talk about this third world war. It's eventually going to happen. Joel chapter 3. We'll read verses 1 through 21. Then we got one more verse after that. Joel chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, that means Jesus is going to gather the children of Israel, the true Israelites. When I bring again the captivity of Jerusalem, they're going to bring them out of captivity. I will also gather all nations, we'll bring all these nations together, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel. Not the Israelis that are there now, but the true Israelites, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So the true Israelites not going to be gathered until Jesus returns, after the time of the Gentiles has been fulfilled. Verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Go back and look at the slave history. They cast lots for slaves. Verse 4. So who did he cast lots for? My people. Who's his people? The Israelites. Who got taken into captivity? The Israelites. Who are they today? That never went back home. Those are the Israelites. Verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? All the coasts of Palestine. Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, the other nations, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of their place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. So the Lord's going to bring the true Israelites back, put them in the land, and the captors of the true Israelites are going to be sold off into slavery. A reversal of fates, right? Verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Isn't that what's going on right now? We see the big Gentile countries starting to go up against each other now. You got Russia and Iran and the United States and Germany and France. These NATO nations are starting to really go up against each other. They're talking about nuclear war, dropping huge, gigantic bombs on each other. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. You got smaller European nations saying, yeah, I can go in there and fight Russia. Like these little Baltic states, we can go against Russia. Finland, right on the border. Yeah, ain't gonna happen. You got Russia, and China, and North Korea, Iran. These are all in cahoots. You got BRICS, what's BRICS for? Brazil, Russia, and India, China, and South Africa joining in cahoots. You can see that there's a separation of powers. Everyone's picking their sides, and it's going to be war. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shine. And we read that back in Luke, didn't we? The Lord shall also roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens of the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. 17. So shall you know that I, the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. So now, let me read that again. Verse 17. So shall you know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. Who's over there now? Strangers, non-Israelites. Non-Israelites and non-saints. Those who don't have the faith of Jesus Christ and they don't keep the commandments of God. 18. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and the fountains shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. So these Edomites that are over there shedding innocent blood, the Gazans are being genocided. The hands of Edom and the Gentiles. 20. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. And like I said, man, you can't put everybody in the same boat. You know, just because somebody might be Jewish doesn't mean they're taking part or they're down with the atrocities that are going over in that land. There are plenty that are fighting against it. You know, so don't stereotype. We got one more place. You see that Jesus is going to return and take over. Let's go back to Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7, we're going to read verses 1 through 14, and then 17, 18, and that'll be it. Daniel chapter 7, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion. Who's this lion? That's Babylon. And had eagle's wings, I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and was made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. This is Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonia, the first Gentile dynasty. Verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear. Who's the bear? Who's the bear today? Same bear as was back then. You had Medo-Persia, Iran, and Russia. Well, Russia and Iran, Medo-Persia. Today, Russia, Iran. What's the symbol for Russia today? A bear. Verse 5, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and it said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Verse 6, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, this leopard is the Greek Empire. The 4 heads are the four separate kingdoms that Greece broke into after Alexander the Great died. There's one big kingdom. Alexander the Great died. He had 4 generals. They all took 4 pieces of the kingdom. Verse 7. After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. Now, who took over after Greece? The Romans. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Read about this earlier. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. So Rome fell in 476 AD, but what happened? There came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and the mouth speaking great things. Now there are three nations. I can't remember the name of them. Imperial lines. I can't remember the other 2. But after 476 AD, the papacy, the Roman Catholic Church, was in charge, and he destroyed these 3 nations. He had armies to destroy these 3 nations. The Imperial lines, the Ostrogoths, I can't remember the 3rd one, but you can look it up and see. And these are the 3 nations that were destroyed after the Roman Empire actually fell, right? So who's in control that we read already? The Roman Catholic Church was in control. Who's the head of the Roman Catholic Church? The Bishop of Rome, which is who? The Pope. Okay. Let me go back and read that, verse 8 again. I considered the horns, and beheld, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. Verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands of thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. And judgment was set, and the books were open. It's like judgment. Judgment. Verse 11. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. His horns talking smack. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body was destroyed and given to the burning flame. Don't look like his horn's gonna make it. Verse 12. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away. All these 4 beasts had their dominion taken away. Why? Because Jesus is coming to take over, and the Father's coming after him. Yet their lives will belong for a season at a time. So Jesus' kingdom's gonna clean up this world. Not gonna kill everybody. It's gonna take over the world though, and there's still gonna be humans here when it comes until the Father comes down. 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom. What's the kingdom? The whole earth. That all people, nations, and languages should serve him. All people, all nations, all languages shall serve Jesus. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So who's going to come after this Gentile dynasty is finished? When the times of the Gentiles has been fulfilled, Jesus returns and takes over the earth forever and ever. Skip down to verse 17. 17 and 18, listen to it. These great beasts which are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. We read who the 4 are. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome. Verse 18. Who comes after Rome? The kingdom of Jesus. 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So that's the lesson. The times of the Gentiles. So we see we're coming near to this times of the Gentiles being fulfilled. You just look at the world and see how this great war is setting up. Just look at these Gentile nations going up against each other. We're starting to go up against each other for rulership of this world. They're even talking about using nuclear weapons to destroy the whole earth. The Lord's going to come back and not let that happen, though. Because they can destroy the whole planet and there'll be no flesh left alive. The Lord's not going to let that happen. He's not going to let this man destroy his creation. He's going to come over and take it over. And there's going to be peace on this earth. Finally. Because we've just been messing up since day one. So I hope it was edifying. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, read your Bible. Keep the commandments of God. Keep the faith in Jesus Christ. Peace and grace to you and yours in Jesus' holy name. Amen.